Today, we are going to dive into a brand new study that's uncovered this kind of hidden link between something as simple as a child's morning routine and how well they might do in math later on. Seriously, it's a connection that you'd probably never expect.
I mean, it sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? But what if it's actually true? A new study from 2024 is suggesting that one of the best tools we have for building early math skills might just be hiding in plain sight, way outside the world of flashcards and worksheets.
So yeah, we're going to unpack this secret. And we're pulling this directly from a paper published in Current Research in Behavioral Sciences. Researchers have zeroed in on this totally unexpected key to math skills, and believe it or not, it all comes down to one simple idea: order.
Okay, so for years, scientists have seen this pattern, right? Kids who are good at understanding how things go in order, well, they also seem to be pretty good at math. But they've always been stuck on that classic chicken and egg problem. Does one cause the other, or do they just kind of show up together for some other reason? This right here is the concept at the very heart of the study. When we say ordering skills, we're talking about a child's knack for knowing if a sequence is correct. It could be numbers, like 1, 2, 3, but it could also be something totally different, like the letters of the alphabet or even just the steps for getting ready for school. And that leads us to the critical question. Do good ordering skills cause good math skills? Because, just because two things are correlated, like how ice cream sales and shark attacks both go up in the summer, that doesn't mean one causes the other. There's a third factor, right? The warm weather. So the researchers, they really wanted to find out if there was a true causal link here. So to finally solve this puzzle, a team of researchers in Northern Ireland came up with this really brilliant, really straightforward experiment. They wanted to see if they could actually train these ordering skills in kids and then measure a direct impact on their math ability. So they worked with a group of 50 kids, all between 4 and 5 years old. And this is such a critical age, It's right at the beginning of their formal schooling, when those foundational math skills are just starting to take shape. The setup was super simple. First, they gave every child a math test to see where they were at. Then, for 3 weeks, they split the kids into 4 different training groups. And finally, they tested their math again to see if any of that training actually made a difference. So let's check out those 4 groups.
The first group got what you might call a classic numerical workout. They practiced looking at sets of 3 numbers and had to decide if they were in the correct order, from smallest to largest. Pretty standard stuff. Okay, now this is where it gets really, really cool. Group 2 did the exact same kind of task, but with absolutely no numbers. They looked at pictures of daily events, like getting up, having lunch, going to sleep, and had to judge if the sequence made sense in time. Group 3 trained a slightly different but related skill: order working memory. They were shown a sequence of animal pictures, and then they had to try to recreate that same sequence from memory. So this is really about holding an order in your mind for a short time. And finally, you've got the control group. Just to make sure any improvements weren't simply because the kids were getting some extra attention, this group did something totally unrelated but still engaging. They listened to stories and answered questions about them. Okay, so there you have it. 3 weeks of training, 4 different groups. What happened when they retested all the kids' math skills? Well, the results were, honestly, they were even more impressive than the researchers might have hoped for. But hang on, before we get to the big math scores, just a quick sanity check. Did the training itself actually work? Did the kids in each group actually get better at the specific thing they were practicing? And the answer is a huge yes. The 3 training groups all showed major improvement on their specific tasks, while the control group, just as you'd expect, didn't really change. So that tells us that the training itself was definitely effective. All right, now for the main event. Did getting better at ordering animals or numbers or daily routines, did any of that actually translate into getting better scores on a formal math test? This is it. This is the moment we find out if it's causation. And here it is, the crucial finding. The control group and the memory group, they saw almost no change in their math scores. But the number ordering group, and this is the absolutely wild part, the daily event ordering group showed a massive jump in their math performance. Just let that sink in for a second. The researchers themselves pointed out that the improvements were basically the same size. Practicing putting pictures of your day in order improved math skills just as much as practicing putting numbers in order. That is a huge deal.
So, of course, the big question is, why? How on earth can practicing a totally non-numerical skill like ordering your day have such a direct and powerful effect on a kid's math ability? Well, the study suggests a few really fascinating ideas. It could be that our brains just have a shared system for processing all kinds of sequences, whether it's time, space, or numbers. Or it might be about language. Practicing daily events really strengthens those relational words like before and after, which are absolutely essential for math. Or maybe daily events just teach a more flexible idea of order, which kids can then take and apply to the much more rigid structure of a number line.
So let's boil all of this down to the real takeaway here. What does this amazing research actually mean for parents, for teachers, for all of us?
Here it is. This is the single most important idea to take away from this. This study gives us the first real causal evidence that training a child on simple, non-numerical sequencing, something as basic as talking about the order of their day, can directly and significantly boost their formal math skills.
And look, this wasn't some tiny, barely there effect. The statistical measure of this improvement is called Hedges-Gay, was 2.03 for that daily events group. To put that into perspective for you, anything over 0.8 is considered a large effect. This result is massive. It's a really meaningful, scientifically proven improvement. And that really leaves us with a powerful final thought. If something as simple as putting daily events in order can build a foundation for math, what other everyday activities? Like cooking from a recipe, or telling a story in order, or following directions to build a toy. What other things are quietly shaping the architecture of our children's minds? It really seems like the world is just full of these hidden learning opportunities if we just know where to look.